You might want to check them out.
So let me just, I think we're recording. So, okay, this is our Empathy Circle Facilitators support group, and Eva is going to be talking about her experiences with empathy circles in Toronto. Take it away.
Thank you. We've been doing several empathy cafes at a book club that I'm involved called Toronto Philosophy Meetup. It's a group that we regularly get together. It was not online before the pandemic, but all of a sudden we just found ourselves at online meetings. So it was a transaction, although I use Zoom and I used to work online, but having 30 or 40 people at a time with no room separations like Empathy Cafe with not structure for the book club was a challenge for us. So we've been working on that. Empathy Cafe structure has been helping us on discovering different ways of getting together and sharing ideas. It was fun to be able to choose our own subjects. Once we discussed on the value of disagreement and philosophy, and I don't remember the other one. Bill, you were there too, but I don't remember. But yeah, the subjects were always the areas that we already spoke about. So it's a big value. Friends are interested. Some say this concept is not about empathy, it's about listening to others and sharing the idea. But I'm trying to really understand and be curious about what they mean with they don't see this as like direct empathy, but another form of sharing ideas. I'll be happy to share what they mean once I understand what they really mean. So I'm on it, and I appreciate Bill that he trained us on setting up the meeting, separating the rooms, and all that. And Bill, we tried separating the rooms once without you. It was a chaos. It seems like it seems like I sent some friends to a meeting room, but some others couldn't go. So they ended up waiting. A couple of friends ended up waiting at their meeting room by themselves. Then I get to get them back. And I was thinking, like, as a mom, I was never good at sending my children to their room. So this room separation, this room separation has been a challenge. We've been working on it. And my challenge now, and as like the end of Toronto Philosophy Meetup, I suggested that we will be holding at least one Empathy Cafe circle every month, each last Sunday of the month. So our Empathy Cafe is coming up this Sunday, and the subject is why toilet paper. You are all invited. There is a Facebook event. It seems like around like 40 people RSVP'd now. We have no idea how many people will show up. And my only struggle about this super easy setting with this Toronto Philosophy Meetup is number of the facilitators and not knowing how many people there will be. I don't know if there's an exact solution for that. So that's one area. Would you like me to have a break and give you feedback, or I have a future idea that I'd like us to brainstorm with?
It's your time, your 15 minutes to manage as you wish.
Want me to respond?
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for the recognition there, Eva. There are several things that could be, that put your people into the waiting room. There were some security issues with Zoom, and so they changed their policy and things like that.
Okay.
So that was one issue. and then facilitate. So I saw your Sunday meetup. I'd be happy to be a facilitator for you if you'd like. And then also we can meet beforehand to go through the technical issues.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're on Messenger, and so let's check in about that, and then I'll be happy to support you any way I can.
Thank you.
Sure.
And it's so exciting to hear healthcare, women, newborn areas are getting into Empathy Cafe, Empathy Circles. I think it's my now honor to say that I would like to bring Empathy Circles into family coaching and ADHD coaching platforms. I am working on, Edwin, I never told you about this, but I'm working on introducing you to some of my instructors from ADHD Academy and some other sharing platforms, because coaching is a lot about empathy. And this is the time that, especially with the COVID pandemic, families really were not set up for having the kids at home all the time. And we are really trying to understand what's happening, including the kids. And the same things goes with learning challenges, ADHD, or the social concept of the core values and all that. So my goal is to set up a form of an online meeting that I can organize panel discussions about that. We are a group of people doing this at Toronto Philosophy Meetup too. But my goal is to have an empathy circle, maybe playlist, or a category where we can host like monthly empathy circles on human values like family or being a student or different kind of subjects. This is my plan, and I would appreciate everything about this. I am learning to handle an online panel discussion, or the highest number of the people we hold at an online meeting was 40 people. It was a big challenge in the beginning, but again, the one thing that we learned from Empathy Cafe is set up the structure right before the meeting, and it gets so easy. People are very understanding and they really value the path. So that's it. And I see, Ben, you have an idea?
Yeah, I'd just like you to share the link for the discussion group, because it sounds like something I'd really like to participate in.
Sure. So I'll share both Toronto Philosophy Meetup and Why Toilet Paper link for this Sunday. Lou?
Yeah, I wanted to offer something that I've seen work really well at public meetings. So at public meetings or like panel discussions where you have people come and talk to a group and something, often what happens at a meeting like that is sometimes you have a question and answer period with the experts or the people who have presented, but often there's not like a discussion time. So something that I've seen introduced at public meetings, and empathy circle practice can be used for this, where after a presentation or a panel discussion, then people break into breakout rooms, or if it's a face-to-face thing, small circles, and you use empathy circle practice to let them talk about what they've heard and bring their own experience into it for half an hour or something like that. And in meetings like that where there aren't enough facilitators to actually do empathy circle practice, you could do something simpler, which is like just have some simple ground rules, like nobody shares a second time until everyone's had a chance to speak a first time once, and nobody gets a chance to speak a second time until everyone's had a chance to speak, and that you limit people speaking to like 2 minutes apiece. And there's no reflection, but at least that ensures some mutuality in what gets in the conversation. And I've been amazed at what happens at public meetings, like large meetings, where there's a chance for discussion versus not. It's really interesting what happens.
Yeah. Thank you. Maybe, oh, go ahead, Edwin.
Oh, just in terms of throwing ideas out there. One is you have quite a few people in Toronto interested in this. An idea is to build a facilitator group there. So you're starting to train some local facilitators.
Okay.
So you have your Lou, for example, does in-person cafes, has done it in Petaluma. So he has like a whole process where he's been recruiting local people, trying to training them in being facilitators. So when he holds a local empathy cafe, he's got a whole group of facilitators to support him. While we're all, I think everyone here is willing to support you. It's also, you can count on us. Just let us know, send out a notice. We're here to support you with facilitation and, technical stuff. You can also start building that local capacity.
Mm-hmm.
That was it.
Yeah. Well, I think one thing, if I had a magic wand, one thing I would really like to. Oh, Erika, would you like to go?
No, I actually wrote a message. I came late,
okay.
and it's too late even in the night here. So maybe next time. I'm sorry for interrupting. And
Thank
I'm
you.
happy that you are doing this.
Thank you.
Too. I will do my first on Thursday, so that's why I came up. So maybe I will come next time with some experience.
Good luck.
Good night. Good night.
Edwin, do I have time for another question now?
Yeah, you've got about 4 minutes.
Okay. I like the idea, and I think we can try that out, Lou, on health panel discussion and health empathy cafe, kind of like a setting. However, still, what we are a little concerned about is when we send people to the room, to their rooms, I'll say, the handle of the conversation, we are like, and I think somehow we are not there yet. It might be about me, and I'm ashamed to say this as a family coach, but it's not working that way. So my question, as like in brainstorming, is is there a way to have an empathy cafe conversation when we are around like 10 or 15 people all together? Or have you ever tried that? Or what's the concept that if we didn't separate into rooms and we still want to have an empathic sharing platform? Lou, were you saying something?
Yeah, I mean, I can respond to that. So the disadvantage of remaining in a large circle is that people don't get much time to talk. So if you have set aside, let's say 30 minutes for that to happen, and there are 10 people in the circle, a person might get to speak once, or twice, and maybe that's enough. Maybe you just want to give each person a chance to say something, 2 minutes to say something, then that's fine. But if you want a chance for people, an opportunity for people to go deeper, which usually doesn't happen till the second or third or fourth time that they're sharing, that people really start to drop into something beyond like their first opinion, then they need more opportunity to speak. And that's the advantage of breaking into smaller circles. And I think if you're worried about not having enough facilitators to guide the conversation in those circles, if you give them a direction for the conversation, like what are your thoughts and experiences related to the information that was presented? So it's not just like an open, talk about whatever you want, but you're actually giving them some direction for the conversation. And then you say, you can speak for 2 minutes, and there isn't any reflection, but at least there's some parameters that help contain the conversation. I think that probably work, that has some hope of working.
Okay, thank you. Edwin?
Yeah, just going back to your idea about the different principles, talking about values and principles. So we have, like, tomorrow is the Extinction Rebellion group, and we've been going through the 10 principles, and that's worked really well. You know, we start with a 10-minute introduction to the principle, and then we divide into the groups, and you know, we talk about that. So I've been quite pleased with it. It's had really pretty good turnout. And something we're working on one project on, we have the culture of empathy as sort of a concept and a larger value, and we're writing up like 10 values that make up that culture of empathy, like common humanity, openness, authenticity, mutuality. And so I've been thinking of doing an empathy cafe series on a culture of empathy, the 10 values of a culture of empathy. So we would have the topic be, what does common humanity mean to you as part of a culture of empathy? And then we, you know, do that same sort of thing. Every week we have a different value. So I think that has a lot of potential. And I was seeing Anne kind of give some maybe excitement about it, because I'm pretty excited about it.
That sounds exciting. Did I get it right? Like, you have like 10 minutes of like sharing about one value you would like to discuss on, then you let people discuss, share about that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's where we are going to, in a way. That's nice to hear.
Yeah, and that was the time too. So
okay, thank you.
okay, I'll stop.